Okay, so check it out. Last Saturday, we went ahead and uploaded a video of a very rare individual, I hope, who was in here, saying a lot of stuff, acting out in a very immature fashion. And we got a lot of questions about it. Well, apparently a lot of people saw it. So this morning, I come into work and NRA News is calling, asking for an interview here at about 1 o'clock. So hopefully what follows is our recording of whatever they ask me when they give me a call. All right, stand by.
Program from Olympia, Washington, Private Sector Arms. Don Teague is with us on the show. Don, how are you this afternoon?
Hi, doing good.
Good. I appreciate you coming on the program. I ran across a video earlier today. I guess it got posted a couple of days ago. An interaction that you had with not really a customer, but a visitor to your store there in Olympia, Washington. I got to ask, I mean, when somebody walks in and immediately asks, do you sell guns to insert anti-Semitic slur here, and immediately call you a Nazi, all right, I'm guessing at that point, okay, I'm not going to make a big sale here, but what was going through your mind when this woman walked in?
Yeah, so, I mean, believe it or not, that's kind of pretty commonplace in this particular area. We're right next to Evergreen State College, and so we do get a lot of people that want to act out in some fashion. It's like they don't really want to put in enough work to get arrested or anything or do anything super trashy. So they kind of play this, 5-year-old, I'm going to annoy the crap out of you until I egg you on in some fashion to where you'll do some ridiculous thing that justifies me with all the hate I'm currently spewing.
So and you had your cameras obviously rolling, and I said earlier in the show, I'm guessing that the person that walked into your store also had a smartphone going. The intent, again, to rile you up, to make you angry so that they can splash that across social media. Look at this troglodytic gun store owner and how he behaved to me, right?
Oh, no, that was exactly what was going on through my brain anyway. I mean, we just done our first blog, and so I'd put it on there, and somebody gave me advice about trying to piggyback some kind of success. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to we started working on this other project already for the next one, and so I was getting ready to actually take some passing video footage of some of the weapons and stuff that we have for sale in here, some really up-close kind of gun porny type stuff. Well, as it so happens, this individual comes in, and the first thing out of her mouth is, do you sell the bleep? I actually, believe it or not, we sell to a very large lesbian gay community, big transgender group following that comes in here. They purchase firearms, ammunition. They exercise their Second Amendment rights. We have the president of the Pink Pistols here locally that comes in. He's one of our #1 fans. So what I thought she said, and I don't know if I can say that, but do you sell to DIKE? And so I was like, sure. And then when I found out that's not what she said, she kind of got mad at me and kept repeating it over and over again. And then right before I turned on the actual video, she picked up one of our fake guns that we have for customers to kind of play with while they're waiting. And she picked it up, pointed it at me, pulled the trigger with some serious intent, and was extremely disappointed when she found out that it wasn't real. And so I go, oh, that thing is plastic. That's a rubber gun. It's not real. And so it pretty much swung its arm down and almost knocked the glass right out of one of our cases. And so I asked him to put the thing down a little bit and just, please, if you're going to be a little more careful with the stuff in here. And then she proceeded to go back again with all that. So I walked over and I turned on the video at that time. And then, of course, you saw pretty much the rest of what was going on. I did edit it a little bit for time, but the only thing that was taken out was when nobody was talking and it was staring at a wall, pretty much.
Okay, so yeah, at one point she asks about some Bibles that you have. You tell her, take one. She asked if she could take them all. Lots of friends, she said. You say, yes, feel free, take them all. She goes outside, then she starts throwing the Bibles at the building, trying to throw them up on top of the roof, and that's when you decided, all right, I'm just going to call the cops here.
Yeah, so actually one step before that, what she had done, what you don't hear, you might hear a little ring of the front door opening, but what she did after she finally said, hey, can I take these? I got a bunch of friends, and I said, you're really going to need all those? And she goes, yes, absolutely. And I said, then go right ahead. So she goes, thank you. And she grabbed the whole stack of them, kicked open the front door, and hucked them out into the parking lot. So she threw them out of there first, and that's when I immediately followed with, okay, now I'm in, now you can leave. I think we're done here. So that was the time when I started pretty much asking her to go away. And then of course she came in acting like she hadn't done anything, and because I said she could do whatever she wanted with those Bibles, and so I guess I was trying to explain to her that it was illegal to do that, but she decided to go back outside. I thought she was going to walk away, and then she grabbed the Bibles and tried to huck them up on top of the roof or throw them at the front. I don't think she had very much success, as was pointed out by pretty much most of the commenters that watched that thing. I guess that kind of ended up with everybody assuming that it was a female just due to the throwing power. But I think even the cops had a hard time identifying exactly what her intent was while he was here.
And that's the thing. I mean, like you say, you're located near Evergreen State College. Obviously, Evergreen was in the news a lot last year. And I imagine you still have a lot of activist students. But look, this wasn't about I'm going to go in and I disagree with gun ownership, and I'm going to see if I can have a conversation with this guy. This was I'm going to go in and I'm just going to be a jerk.
Right.
I'm going to see what I can get away with. I'm going to see if I can get him flustered. And I applaud you for keeping your cool, for being polite, for being even friendly when clearly there was the attempt to rile you up. I think that's the way that you have to respond to these things, because again, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for you to be angry, so then they can turn that against you.
Yeah, and I'm, hey, if there's a time and a place for everything, and when you have somebody like that who's they're not really damaging anything, they're not hurting anybody, they're just being a jerk. They're just being a really big jerk, and the tendency is to get all offended about it and this and that. But unbeknownst to her, I did a lot of time working in clubs and owning some nightclubs, and I've had a lot of really horrible things said to me right to my face, which I've brushed off. But there was even though she was breathing heavy, and there was this kind of this look in her eye that she could do anything at any moment. Everything was still safe the entire time. And I didn't feel that she'd put my life or anybody else's safety. But when she started throwing the books, I was hoping that at the very least, she said she was going to burn them. I was pretty sure she was too lazy to burn them, and she probably didn't have anything to do that. But at the very least, she'd have to walk out of here with a handful of Bibles, and I was hoping some of that would rub off on her a little bit. The officer didn't agree with me. He thought that was no go on that, but. I wasn't necessarily wanting her to burn any Bibles or anything like that. I just figured that if she stopped for a minute after walking halfway across town with a handful of Bibles and read something, maybe something would rub off on her a little bit.
Well, maybe she'll keep one just for the memories, and maybe she'll crack that book open one day. But I got to ask, Don, what's the reaction been from some of your locals? You talk about you've got a lot of members of the LGBT community who are customers.
Right.
You are. It sounds like just in talking with you that you're a firm believer in self-defense is a human right.
Absolutely.
You want to sell to illegal law-abiding gun owners, but you don't care what their political affiliation or their personal lives are. We've all got the Second Amendment right in common. What has been the reaction from your customer base?
Oh, just tons of support, of course. I think, definitely the local customer base has had a pretty good reaction to it. Some of the comments that we've got from some of the people that are not necessarily in the community were still positive. I think a lot of people really wished I would have taken a video of me jumping over the counter and beating her within an inch of his life, but that obviously was not going to happen. There was no call for any of that, right? But people get riled up and they watch something like that and they're like, how could you do this? How could you do that? And it's like I tell everybody when it comes time to...
The keyboard warrior phenomenon is real, and here's what I would have done,
right.
Don. I would.
Sure.
and okay, and then you would have made bail, and
right.
Here's how it works in the real world.
That's right.
So I'm glad to hear that the real world response has been positive.
It has. It really has. And I don't think there hasn't been, and both from the right and the left side of our customer base, there hasn't been one single individual that had that person's back after watching that video at all. In fact, the closest thing we got was somebody saying that I don't agree with you hanging the Confederate flag, but I didn't like the way she treated the Bibles. However, we don't have a Confederate flag, and it was a Gadsden flag and a colonial flag that she was saying belonged to the Nazis. So I think we're in with that one too.
Don Teague with the Private Sector Arms. Listen, I appreciate you coming on the program. Any advice for FFL's gun store owners who may be living in college towns, operating in college towns, or places where you might find some folks, from the hard left who might wander in
Sure.
To your store on how to deal with folks like this?
Well, though, I think the one thing is that you have to give them some kind of respect. I mean, that's what they're pretty much looking for, and they expect that you're not going to even have any kind of a dialogue other than the whole, shut the F up and get the H out, But if they talk to you and they say stuff that doesn't make any sense, you have to do a little reflective listening and also send that back at them and see where they're at with that. But you can't just smash down everything these people say, even when they're absolutely crazy. I've had people walk in with revolvers and ask me where to put the magazine in. And very calmly, I've showed them the difference between a revolver and a semi-auto instead of treating them like they're an absolute moron. And I think that's really where kind of the old guard still feels that way a little bit. But us younger guys in our 50s, we take a little different approach to it, especially with this day and age, and all of our new children coming back from being at war for the last 16 years.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Don, thank you again for spending some time with us this afternoon, and hope that the rest of your week is peaceful and uneventful and full of good sales.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You have a great day, guys.
You bet. You too. We'll let you get that. Don Teague joining us from...
Excellent.
Timmy.